I'm your host, Karen Hudis, and this show is the 34th segment in the DC TV series on the network of global corporate control. Today's segment is following up on a prayer of Ferdinand Marcos. If America fails, then the world is lost. At the end of World War II, Ferdinand Marcos, who was the lawyer for José Rizal, who was the superior general of the Jesuits at the time, put the world's international monetary gold reserves and other wealth into a trust for the benefit of humanity for 50 years. That trust is called the Global Debt Facility, and it's administered by the Board of Governors of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. The Board of Governors is 188 ministers of finance and development. I'm the lawyer for the Global Debt Facility. The Federal Reserve does not have the United States monetary gold reserves, and neither does the U.S. Treasury. The Global Debt Facility has put liens on the Federal Reserve in the 11 states where the Federal Reserve banks are located. That's because the Federal Reserve is bankrupt. That's because the Federal Reserve has actually issued over $200 trillion back in the 30s, and those bonds, they're called Treaty of Versailles bonds. They've been compounding interest. They're now worth over $2 quadrillion. So we don't owe the Fed money on country debt. It's actually that all of the country debt can be offset against this $2 quadrillion. The Fed's dishonesty in refusing to admit that people do not hold valid legal title to their property, that federal judges are sitting in bogus courts that are not the courts in Article 3 of the Constitution, because the United States federal government is being run according to a second secret constitution that the banks put into place in 1871, instead of the Constitution of 1789 that many people still think is in effect. People's opinion of the legal profession has tanked. So has their opinion of journalists. 2/3 say the national news media has a negative effect on the country. And just this past week, I tweeted something which was retweeted 52 times. I said, let's face it, none of the media is telling the truth. And the reason why is because the media is owned by this network of global corporate control. We know this for a fact because 3 mathematicians at the Federal Institute of Technology did an analysis of who owns the 43,000 companies on the capital markets, and they found out that
ang 2 dekadang pamumuno ni Ferdinand Marcos at ang pagpapatupad niya ng martial law ay isang hindi malilimutang yugto sa kasaysayan ng ating bansa.
I have proclaimed martial law in accordance with the powers vested in the President by the Constitution of the Philippines.
Ang People Power Revolution noong 1986 ang tumapos dito. Kasabay nito ay ang pagbaba sa pwesto ng mga Marcos at ang pag-exile ng kanilang pamilya sa Hawaii. 3 taon pa lamang silang namamalagi doon ay yumao na si Ferdinand dahil sa multiple organ failure.
How was the last hours of being with President Marcos? During his dying
He was
moments?
giving me strength by saying, sweetheart, fear not. All our lives we committed on the side of the right. Like the sun will rise tomorrow, the truth will set us free.
Ang pagyao ng kanyang asawa marahil ang bumaliktad sa buhay ni Imelda. Siya ang sumalo ng halos lahat ng kaso na ibinabato sa kanyang pamilya. Karamihan sa mga kasong ito ay tungkol sa pagkamkam umano ng mga Marcos ng yaman mula sa kaban ng bayan. Taong 1990, naganap ang sinasabing Trial of the Century kung saang $1 milyong ang kinwestiyon kay Imelda sa kasong fraud at racketeering. Dito sa gym sa likod ng bahay nakatago ang mga dokumentong nagpapatunay raw na not guilty ang pamilyang Marcos tungkol sa questionableng mga kayamanan. Nakaayos ang mga ito na tila nakaabang sakali mang mga ilangan sila ng ebidensya anumang oras.
We're entering the documents of the trial of the century.
Oh.
Here. 170 banks that Marcos deposited money on. These are the 350,000 documents used against me. Now, all of that. All the mines, all the banks of the world, 170 banks of the world. And I have the bill of lading. And these are all U.S. government exhibit. All of this. Just to show you the bill of lading, how much is
$240 million. Oh my goodness. Is it million? Billion?
billion?
Billion? 240 billion?
Only one shipment. And these are plenty of shipments. And then 5 stages. Lucio started them, all of this. Meralco. 2,900 hectares, that greenfields, Alabang, that's all ours. I was going to build a satellite city for the poor. So, we are not the thieves. These are the people.
Mrs. Marcos, if we go by all of these, you are rich beyond compare.
No, this will save the world.
The world.
The world. This is the reason why I want to survive. And it's not for me anymore.
So, Mrs. Marcos, are you saying you're open to giving some or an amount of this one to the country, to the Filipinos?
Not only the Philippines, but the world.
So, what are you waiting for before you can attain your intention?
With this now, we are tied our hands. With the whole press saying we are magnanakaw. We are the magnanakaw. Kami ang ninanakawan. We are the one who took it. Marcos suffered so much for this.
Ang naging depensa raw ni Imelda para maipanalo ang kaso, bago pa man raw naging presidente si Ferdinand, may mga ipong ginto na raw ito na lumaki ng lumaki ang halaga paglipas ng panahon.
When we started, it was $32 and then $35.
An ounce of gold. She's talking of gold.
Now, it's 1,300, 400, 500, 600, 800, nag-iiba-iba.
Iba-iba.
Ounce yan.
How many kilos?
And we are sitting on gold.